All right, thanks everyone for joining. This is the post-race press conference for the Budds Creek National. We have two of the Honda guys from the 450 class with us here right now. Ken Roczen, who finished second on the day, with a 1-2 Moto scores, and then Chase Sexton, who just missed out on a podium today, finishing fourth with 3-4 Moto scores. Was in the mix all day. We are not going to be joined by Dylan Ferrandis. So we have Chase here, and then we are waiting for Eli momentarily. But we'll get started. Ken, we'll start with you. A great start to the day, and then actually really great second moto. I think everybody can agree that was quite the battle that kind of unfolded between all four of you guys in that moto, and then you and Dylan kept it tight there at the end. Talk about your day. Talk about the conditions, kind of track conditions. The weather is probably our hottest and most humid day yet, combined with looked like pretty rough track conditions. Obviously, we heard lapped riders were an issue. Kind of go through the day for us and describe how you're feeling about your performance today at Budds Creek.
Yeah, so I actually I felt pretty good all day so far. Obviously the conditions in the morning were a little bit tricky. I guess we got a lot of rain on Thursday and Friday, and so it made it tough in the morning, but Jason did really good with the track. I think he widened out some parts of it, and but my races also went really well. The first one I could hold everybody off for first place. The lappers were definitely a struggle this weekend. I think the track being a lot or at least a little bit shorter, I think we were all cramped up in a tiny spot, and so I struggled with that in the first moto big time. My lead got cut down pretty good, but I held on to it. In the second one, I got the whole shot and just tried to stay up front as long as I can. I struggled a little bit with my bike setup today. It wasn't ideal for the conditions. It was pretty unstable, so I just rode to what I was comfortable, and it was enough for second place in the second overall. So I'm actually pretty satisfied. Obviously didn't make up any points, but at the same time, we rode well and we gave it everything we had, and that's really all I can do.
Cool. Moving on to you, Chase. Two great starts in the mix, both motos. I'm sure the results weren't exactly what you were probably hoping for in the end, but the pace that the four of you were running all day long was really impressive, really exceptional. Talk about your day. I know lappers were kind of an issue for you, especially that first moto kind of got you off your game a little bit there before you could kind of get back into rhythm. So talk about your day, how you're feeling. You're kind of there. You're one of those top guys now. You're there every week, it seems like. So how's your progression been in the season, and how's your day today at Budds?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I'm making steps in the right direction. Ever since really Millville, I've been just kind of climbing forward, and obviously getting a win at Washougal was nice. And then even Unadilla, besides the first moto, I was riding well all day. So I feel like I rode well. I really had good speed today, especially early in the race. Like you said, we were all kind of close. So it was frustrating. I didn't feel like I had what it took, especially second moto later in the race. I didn't feel like I was confident with my bike, and I just really wasn't comfortable with the speed and just the track later on in the races. It just wasn't gelling with it, and obviously showed. I got dropped pretty heavy, and it was frustrating. Like I said, it's just to have that good speed and not really make anything out of it was not ideal, but I feel like I'm making steps in the right direction, and looking forward to Indiana. It's a home race for me, and I like that track. So just trying to improve. And like I said, it was a little frustrating especially late in the second moto, to really lose the train. And I guess we'll just go back to work and try and get better.
Awesome. Thanks. We'll move on to the media. Dark Side, we'll start with you.
Kenny, I'll go to you first, bud. The mutual respect and the camaraderie almost between you and Dylan and battling, it's really fun to watch. Just talk about like racing with a guy like that you have mutual respect for. You guys ride clean. I would assume it makes the racing a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. All year, I feel like we've done a really good job on getting the crowd what they want, and he's obviously going really well right now. So he's a tough competitor and really difficult, because even when I'm on my good days, like I don't really make up that many points, and if any at all, because today was a pretty good day for me, besides maybe with the bike setup, but in general, I didn't make up any points. So, and we have less and less races to go. So at the same time, it's enough time for something to happen and to make it interesting, but you know, it is what it is. All I can do is focus on myself and what's going on in my camp over here. Obviously, we have a lot of respect from each other, and he's riding so well right now. It's tough.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Andrew with Revista, go ahead.
Hey, thank you, Brendan. Hey, Kenny, on that second moto, when Dylan makes that pass, is there another line that is just not is there not another line that is available or an option, and separately, is the bike maxed out at that point? What limits you from overtaking Dylan in that second moto?
So that spot, I knew he was going to come up to the inside. I noticed it right away at the top. So I just tried to actually slow down a little bit and hit my mark really good and see if I can make the run for it, somehow coming back up to the step up. But I just, especially in that scenario, also going down the hill and with how rough it was, my bike just wasn't simply stable enough for me to send it down there a little bit more. I was losing everywhere going down the hill. So that was probably my bad side today, but it's just something in the end, I still tried everything to not get into those situations, but it is what it is. We gave it our all, and he made the pass stick, and then I made a run again actually with 2 laps to go or so, or like a lap and a half to go. I actually got super close again, but I just got messed up by a lapper again, and it put just enough of a gap in between us where I just couldn't do anything anymore.
Yeah, great race. Thank you.
We are joined by Eli Tomac now. We'll kind of throw him into the mix here real quick. Eli, another podium result for you. You were up there with all 4. It was those 4 of you guys in both motos. That second moto, you were really right there, kind of knocking on the door of both Ken and Dylan there. Talk about your day, and you're getting closer and closer, it seems like, to that win that everybody's maybe waiting for you to get. Just talk about how the day was for you and how you're feeling about continuing to progress and potentially getting to that point where you can get on the top step of the box here before the season's over.
Yeah, today I had a little bit of everything today. I had a couple good starts, and then Moto 1 was disappointing because I was there on the start, and then just ended up getting past, and then got a little bit tight and kind of was just riding around in 4th that whole time. So that was disappointing. I knew I'd feel better for Moto 2, in which I did. I rode better. Dylan and Kenny were in front of me. We were all going pretty close to the same speed. I mean, we all kind of bunched up at one point and we're there, but nothing really happened, for my situation. So happy even riding Moto 2, and it was okay, just still looking for that win.
Cool, thanks. We'll take it back to the media. Anthony, go ahead.
Thanks, guys. Anthony Sitsoda here at MotoOnline.com. Go to Chase with this one. Chase, you had the opportunity to run up front with those guys for, a full day, back-to-back motos. What did you learn from that? And what are you going to work on this week specifically?
Yeah, it was really good to have us 4 up front, both motos. It was really enjoyable just being able to watch their lines and kind of just learn from them, but also I had a few spots on the track where I was pretty fast. So, yeah, it was fun, and it's always fun to have tight racing like that. Obviously it's what I was born to do, and I really enjoy it. So, yeah, it was good. But this week, mostly, I mean, I just feel like I'm just a little bit off, on setup wise. I don't feel comfortable, like I said, late in the second moto, and obviously it showed today. So, yeah, I just got to work on that and get a little more comfort, obviously. And I probably need to get in better shape because, yeah, it showed today. So just go back to work and try and make as many gains as I possibly can. We have 3 more races, and it's going to be a long stretch to the finish. So yeah, just try and get as much out of this next week as I possibly can. Obviously, we don't have that much time, but yeah, just go back to work with myself and the bike and come out swinging for Ironman.
Right on. Thanks, Chase.
Mitch, go ahead.
Hey, Mitch from Racer X. Eli, my question's for you. obviously overall podium on the day, but you're still searching for that win. Are you having fun? And, is it frustrating on a day like today? Like you said, you're trying it, you're giving it your all, you're gelling with the track, you've got the speed, but you just, you aren't able to get done. Is that kind of frustrating for you, or are you having fun battling with these guys?
It was good to be at the front of the race, that's for sure. Frustrated from Moto 1, but was happy with riding in Moto 2. So that was it. And yeah, I'm scratching my head on how I haven't gotten an overall yet, but I had good second motos beforehand, and then would always just underperform in Moto 1. So yeah, we're close, right? But it still getting beat. So that's it.
Cool, thanks.
Dark side, back to you.
Hey, Chase, I'm gonna go with you. You guys trained in Florida, extremely hot and humid there, obviously. From what I understand, this race was maybe one of the more physically demanding as far as that goes. Where do you find the balance point to stay hydrated, to not get overworked during the week in the humidity? Because I know training in that humidity should help you with the humidity unless you overtrain in the humidity. So how do you find that balance point?
It's definitely a fine line. I haven't probably necessarily found it. I'm still learning. Obviously, it's really easy to go over and under, I feel like. So it's really hard to find that sweet spot. But for me, today I didn't really struggle with the heat at all, which has actually been a positive for me, because obviously 2019 I overheated at WW, and ever since then I've gotten back to the point where I'm not super stressed about the heat, and I don't really feel it that much. So yeah, heat's not really a problem. I think, like I've said before, it's just gelling with the bike late in the second moto for me, and that's where I've been struggling. So when you're not gelling with the bike, you really do get more and more tired. So that's where I'm at. And yeah, it's like I said, it's not ideal, but I'm trying my butt off every week and trying to get better, and definitely not quitting out there. So yeah, just go back to work. But like you said, it's hard to find that fine line.
Right on. Thank you.
Andrew, go ahead.
Hey, thank you. Hey, Eli, you're at this point, I guess, in your career, considered a veteran and a champion in Supercross and Motocross. Can you talk a little bit about what it is you think that Dylan Ferrandis is, what it is that makes him, or that you're either impressed with, or that gives you it gives you a challenge? What is it about his riding style, or in light of your abilities and your background and history in the sport?
For one, he's been fast and he's been really consistent. He hasn't messed up at all yet. So, and he's kind of just well-rounded. That's really the way I look at the guy. He's just doing everything, just right. And he's just as well-rounded. Like, he's just solid everywhere. So that's what I see when I'm behind him. And he's had good endurance. A lot of guys are kind of hit and miss, even how I've been this year between the two motos, but he's been solid for Moto 1 and 2. So yeah, just solid.
Thank you.
Anthony.
Thanks, Brandon. I'll stick with Eli on this one. Eli, obviously wrapping up your time with Monster Energy Kawasaki. What would it mean to you to get another win for those guys? And is that something that's kind of on your radar?
Like I said, I've been so close, and I want to do it. There's no lack of motivation there. And I'm searching for it. So we got 3 to go, and I think it's very well possible. My starts were better, and it's going to be close. We're close. So I just need to get that first moto dialed in, and then start in front of them in Moto 2.
Mitch, go ahead.
Hey, Ken, we'll circle back to you here. Obviously, with being a hot race, you don't try and go out there to make a statement or impress anybody, or you're going out there doing it for yourself. But do you feel like you can kind of people can kind of lay off of you with the comments that you won't be able to perform when it's hot? And I guess you kind of showed that today. But what are your thoughts on when people say stuff like that?
I haven't really messed with it, to be honest. I haven't really heard any of that. But I train in the heat as well, and we, at this point of the season, you need to be robust enough to make it through them. But the pace is just super high too. When somebody is gelling with his bike, I'm there with Chase when you're not really feeling that comfortable, and it wears you out a lot more. Like I felt like in both motos, I really had to muscle the bike around to be able to go at the speed that we went. And, of course it makes it tougher towards the end of the moto. So we're definitely just trying to make the bike better and make it easier on ourselves as well. So we don't have to force things so much. And I struggle, especially today, with just being precise for that reason, just because my bike was bouncing all over the place. So I had to leave a few tenths on the track or, in certain spots. So I wasn't too happy about that, but I just wanted to, we have to try and do as good as possible. And then when we're already in such a good position, it comes down to some grit. And so, yeah, I also know coming to Butts Creek, it's not even like that the temperatures, the actual number is ever really that hot. But once the sun comes out and where we are at the start gate, there's just no breeze. And we all have fans and, umbrellas and gloves and helmets. So there's a lot of stuff we're carrying around. And that place always definitely, like when you see it's in the mid 80s, you can prepare yourself for a pretty miserable day.
And then real quick, you guys, both you and Chase kind of talked about like the comfortability with the bike. Is there like, are you guys talking and like you're kind of feeling similar things that you need to work on, or is it you're feeling something different from him? Are you guys bouncing ideas off one another? Or is that, like I said, is that related at all, the comfortness you guys are kind of looking to find? Or
I definitely think we're complaining about the same time. And it's been a bit of a struggle in general this year, just because due to COVID, like the suspension ship outs, and it just sometimes doesn't show up in time when we need it to. So I have not really been testing at all, and I've been on the same setup for quite a while. I made some bigger stabs at it clicker wise, and basically in the first moto, I rode the exact same bike as I did in Unadilla, but I didn't nearly like it as much as I did in Unadilla. It wasn't ideal there either, but I definitely struggled with it more today. And obviously the track, certain areas are deeper and you have ruddy sections, and that really pulls the bike down. And having the bumps in the ruts too, they're pretty quickly in a row. So I definitely feel like I had some not enough stability there. So it's a difficult situation to be in, because if we were to be in California, we could test and do that kind of stuff. But being in Florida, I've kind of just been sticking with what I have, and try to muscle my way through at this point.
awesome. Thank you.
Alex Gobert, let's get you in.
Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, Alex Gobert, motoonline.com. I'll stick with Kenny. We know that guys have different strengths at the beginning and the end of the motos, but at the same time, you guys are going obviously, at such a quick pace. How much does strategy come into play, during Moto 1 and Moto 2?
Well, really the only strategy there is trying to go as fast as you can, but kind of conserve yourself and find a decent flow and keep up your momentum. Because if you're trying really hard like you're doing in qualifying practice, it can definitely wear you down pretty quick. But at the same time, the top guys are strong enough where you can't slow down too much. It's pretty much wide open all the way until the end. So there's you just kind of got to go and make it as long as you can.
Right on. Thank you. Well done.
Nick, we'll get you in too.
Thank you. Let's go to Eli Tomac. So Eli, like we just spoke about before, your time at Monster Energy Kawasaki is coming to an end in a few weeks. When can we expect an announcement from you with your plans for 2022?
That's just October 1st is normal contract for us. So October 1.
Awesome. Thanks, Eli.
Dark side.
We'll go back to Kenny. Monday night, man, you were on Pulp and you were talking about having some bad races here and there, and that's really been what's hurt you this year, obviously. Obviously, we know you had a great Supercross season, a great outdoor season so far, second overall Supercross, second outdoors. But when you say it is what it is, does the team or anybody at the team feel like, I know you don't mean it as like you don't care, but it almost, does anybody say, hey, man, it isn't what it is, like we need more? Or like, how do they react to that?
No, I definitely don't say it is what it is.
Right.
In a way that I'm just leaving it. But for me to try a shock and a set of forks sometimes takes 2 weeks because, after certain comments, they try and get some stuff out. And then usually you can ride it on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, but then you're going to the race. And, when you test, you can't always expect to hit it on the mark, So if that ain't it, then we're going to the race. And then until, it's not like they can also just ship shock after shock after shock. There's only so and so much equipment there. So sometimes if you have a bunch at your place, you have to send some back and then you have to build something and send it out again. It's just all takes time, So, and the weekends just kind of pass. And if you're not hitting it on the mark, because you also have to prove it in the race and be comfortable on in race conditions. And if that ain't the case, you're going and testing. But realistically, a day of testing in California, for example, or if the team is here, is obviously a lot more valuable than them just sending a shock. What we, obviously we try to hit precise marks of what to change, but it's still, what in theory makes sense doesn't always end up being the same on the track. So the time just kind of flies by, and before you know it, 4 weeks or 4 races have gone by and you've tried, 2 shocks or something like that, a couple of forks. And that isn't it. You just gotta keep going. So we're just a little bit limited. I think it's difficult for anybody, really. If you're not in California the whole entire year to be able to test, then it makes things difficult sometimes. And obviously, it's good enough for me to win on it at certain races. It works better at certain races than others, but for right now, at least what I know, it's also valuable when you have a set of suspension that might not be ideal, but at least you know it and you have won on it and you've raced well with it. So it's not always a bad idea to kind of, for now, stick with what you have. If it's not a definite, yes, this is way better and you fixed all these areas, so there's always a fine line. It's difficult to hit the marks for sure.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.
Alex, back to you.
Yeah, for Chase, following Washougal, you mentioned you were definitely keen to ride for Team USA at MXON. Is that still the case?
Yes, 100%. It's like I said multiple times, it's a dream for me to go race for my country and represent the USA. Last year they didn't have it, and I feel like this year it's obviously a good opportunity for if I get picked to go. So yeah, I'm all in, and I'll definitely give it my best effort and go out there and put it all on the track if I get the chance to.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. It'd be awesome to see you there.
Thanks.
Dark Side, back to you.
Wasn't prepared for that. Chase, I'm going to go back to you real quick. Lappers today, man. We talked Tuesday night. We kind of referenced back to the thing with Cade and Supercross and what happened at Unadilla last week. And a couple times this week or today, there were a lot of lapper issues. And you had mentioned how quiet your bikes are. Do you feel like maybe that it's a hindrance at all, or just talk about the lappers in general and just dealing with them?
Yeah, I mean, like I don't want to complain because obviously they're out there racing, like I am. So for me, I don't really complain that much until it gets to a dangerous point. Like I got cross jumped a few times on the uphill triple today, where I had to roll it when Dylan was behind me, and that was like if I would have jumped, I would have landed right on the guy. And then I got off Henry Hill twice actually in the first moto where Dylan did pass me. The guy, he jumped right and I clipped his rear end, and I did it again in the second moto. And that's where that's where I'm at, and that's why I got frustrated. I don't like when they're out there racing and they get in the main line or whatever, I don't really care. It's just holding a line, and I try and make my bike as loud as possible. Obviously our bike's quiet, but I try and let them know that I'm there. And like I said, I don't want to complain about them because they're out there racing just like me and giving it their all. So I just get, like I said, I get frustrated when it's just holding their line and kind of, I just want it to be safe. That's all I care about. So when it gets to the dangerous point, especially on jumps and stuff like that, that's when I get frustrated. But it's hard. I know it's a hard spot, and I feel like they're doing everything they can to be safe out there too.
Cool. Thank you.
Andrew, go ahead.
Hey, Kenny, you've had your concerns and issues with lap riders in Supercross and in Motocross. Would you like to see a rule or a new policy going forward that in the event that at the last 2 laps that lappers have to exit the track, or is that simply too extreme?
I don't know. It's tough, you know. And then when we come, it's more just we haven't really had any problems either this year that much until like this weekend. But I think it has a lot to do with the track. It's really difficult to move around when the ruts are that deep and that long, and you know, some of the parts of the tracks were wet as well. So the only thing that I complain about is just that it didn't go my way, and I got held up. But it's not that big of a deal. I'm definitely on board with Chase. They're out there racing and trying their best. And I yelled more today than I have at any other race. I'm surprised I have a voice. But yeah, no, for me, I didn't really have any sketchy moments, but I had to roll the uphill triple as well. And it's just really when it costs you time and then the other guys are moving in on you.
Thank you.
Alex, you get the last one.
Yeah, for Eli, we've seen you have, I think you've won the last 2 years at Ironman. So is that something that gives you confidence leading back to these tracks, or you obviously had a lot of success at all different kinds of tracks?
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to them. You know, I look forward to Buds this year. I wrapped up the title there in 19, so I was looking forward to this weekend, and we had a good race there last year. So it always, you know, it's a good track. It's a good track. So looking forward to it, and yeah, we'll see what she brings.
No worries. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. That concludes the 450 side of this post-race conference. Thank you to our 450 riders. Congratulations on a good day to each one of you, and we will see you all next week at Ironman.